Well, hello there, cool kids. How are you today? Everything's okay, I assume, because no one tells me otherwise. But, you know, I think today we're going to talk about a very fun topic, I think. And that is the addiction of acquisition. So, a lot of people are like, I'm addicted to silver. Now, I posit that it's entirely possible to be addicted to silver, but I don't know that it's the silver itself. I mean, I understand that some people collect it and are, kind of like art people. They see it as an art form and they want to hold something beautiful and they're obsessed with getting the next wonderful thing. But I don't know that that's an addiction. I mean, I guess in some senses it is. But I think there's another addiction that's just as pervasive in the silver stacking game, and that addiction is the hunt. The hunt for the deals. Okay? So, yeah, I guess what I'm telling you is there's different types of silver addicts. Nobody's shooting up silver, or at least I don't think they are, and even if they were, they wouldn't get high off of it, so it's not that kind of addiction. But there are definitely silver addicts. Believe me, I know. Guys, we're just talk about it. We're gonna talk about some of the stuff you might get addicted to, certain aspects of silver. Now, I'm by no means a psychology expert, but I have been on the earth for damn near 50 years, so I have a few insights, I'd hope, in that time, especially regarding this. So let's just talk about it. All right, so one form that your addiction can take is the completionist addiction. The completionist must have the entire set. Nothing else matters to the completionist. They don't care what it takes to get it, they need it. Now, they might be smart enough to wait for the right price point, and that I would advise any silver addict to do. Okay, you want to maximize your purchase, whatever that means. So if you're buying a numismatic piece, you don't want to pay at the upper end of the scale, you want to pay at the lower end, and you wait for the piece, right, that fits that mold, unless... See, I hate to say this, but it's true. There are certain pieces, right, that you're never going to see. You might see one once in your life. So then you get this YOMO, or FOMO, that's it. FOMO, YOLO. I put YOLO and FOMO together. You get a fear of missing out in this addiction, okay? So you might be thinking, I am only going to see this once, because there's only, I don't know how many of these there are, 70,000 of these in the whole world, and I've never seen one before, and oh my gosh, but realistically it'd be something rarer than this. This isn't that rare. It's fairly rare, though. It's rarer than its price would indicate, but that's a different discussion. So the completionist must have the complete set. Okay, you'll notice these sort of people all over YouTube. Anyone you see completing a set of Walkers or Franklin halves, or those are fairly simple collections to do. I have this addiction because I have a complete set of Royal Australian Mint kangaroos, which is absurd. Let me show you that real quick. All right, and the ones in the postcards or capsules are the only ones you're going to see here. The actual, the ones in the other containers I have, the coin fare for 94 and 95, I do have them, but they weren't in a postcard, so they won't mount. I actually am going to build a display case for these so I could show them all off. Now, a lot of people don't, no one else I know has that collection, but there's at least 10,000 people in the world likely that have that collection. But it's a very small group of people. That's what I'll say. But that doesn't necessarily mean that's a valuable collection, by the way, guys. I'm not saying it is. It's just something I decided to do. It's purely being a completionist. But you could go for a type set of U.S. coins. Anything to do with one of those books is going to get you in this ranking. Now, with just a real quick aside, with those Royal Australian Mint kangaroos, you have to have the card. I did have an opportunity. The key date's the 2000. Let me look here. I believe it's the 2009. I don't want to lie to you. Yeah, it's the 7. See, the 2007. So the 2007 came in a brown postcard and a blue. But the coins are identical. I had an opportunity to buy the brown. I didn't buy it. I could have bought it. I could afford to buy it. I had it budgeted. But I decided they're the same coin. So I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to pay that kind of money for a brown card. Don't need it. Don't want it that bad. And they're about 50-50. There's only 9,000 in the world. Half of them are brown, half of them are blue. I think it's 9,000, something like that. 8,600, whatever. Oh, and in order to have the coin fair coins, actually, yeah, that number drops dramatically to have what I have, because there's only 2,500, I believe, of the coin fair coins from 95. So trust me when I tell you, it gets really silly on trying to get those kangaroos. All right, just so you know, just in case you're thinking of doing it. Now, the problem with the completionists is they are willing to pay more money than they possibly could in order to expedite their purchase and complete their set, and that is problematic. But there are worse things than being a completionist, okay? And if you keep it focused on one type of set and you budget properly, you can do it. It's fine. And your collection will sell, obviously, because, you bought it. So someone's going to buy it from you, okay? Now, you may not get what you paid for it, or you might get twice what you paid for it. It all depends on your choices while you're making the collection, okay? Now, moving on to our next precious metal addict. Okay. This is a good example. I call him the Top Pop Poppy. Top Pop Poppy wants the highest graded. Well, it is growing. The highest graded coin. Okay. Now with something like this, Mint State 70s, common. But if you're talking about old school coins that were actually circulated and taken off the belts with shovels, anything above 65 is going to be keen. It's going to be amazing, all right? So, yeah, Top Pop. So, some people are obsessed, believe it or not, with having the highest graded version of a coin, the best of the best. And they are willing to pay, I kid you not, millions, hundreds of thousands of dollars, we'll say, for coins. In some cases, millions, for the top graded variety from a registered or accepted grading agency, which this is not. But I just wanted to, show stuff. And I am not a Top Pop collector. I'm just not in the income bracket where I can do that. 1 and 2, I can look at 2 Mint State coins that are totally different grades and I can tell you they're Mint State. But I can't. I don't have that eye. And God bless the people who do. I think a lot of it's subjective too, and I don't really trust. Right? I don't really trust I don't really trust it. I mean, to me, the difference between a 67 and a 66 is I can't even see it. Why am I going to trust some random dude? I get it's their job, but then I see inconsistencies like that coin I just showed you in that flip. I see stuff like that. It just lets me know everything I need to know personally. Now, I'm not telling you what to do. The problem with a Top Pop collector is exactly what I just said. Grading is subjective. If you're paying extra, right? Well, what looks beautiful to you is the perfect coin to you may not be the perfect coin for the next person. So remember, you may not get that premium back. That's what I'll say. Another type of addict, okay, is someone looking for vintage stuff just because it's vintage. Okay, so a lot of these, some are actually low mintage, but a lot of these are pretty high mintage rounds, generic rounds. And in the old days, when I first got into silver, you would have looked at this and said, this is a generic round. It's nothing special. But here in the last few years, apparently these have become highly regarded. And I get that. Over time, things become more scarce. Another example of this is Morgan dollars that are non-key dates, right? Going for crazy premiums because they're Morgan dollars. I don't subscribe to that brand of stacking, okay? I'll buy a Morgan if the price is right. My rule, and this is just me, it should never cost more for a common date Morgan unless it's in immaculate condition, right? Like I'm talking like a real dazzler. I might pay a little something for that because they are really cool coins, okay? But if it's just a standard circulated Morgan dollar, 1921, let's go with 21. That's the herpes of Morgans. I'm not going to pay more than the spot price of silver for that silver dollar. And that's my go-to. So if it's a circulated Morgan dollar, right now silver's at 22 something, that's what I pay for it. Okay. I just round it up to an ounce, even though it's only 3/4 of an ounce. Right? I hope that makes sense. Because of the cool factor. That's me giving it a little bump over a nice premium. That's a nice premium, guys. The melt values on a Morgan going up to 22, you're giving up a 1/4 ounce there. That's me, though. So when I see a Morgan dollar going for melt for a troy ounce or under, I will buy it. If I see it going over that, it better be spectacular. Okay? It better be a semi-key date and circulated, or it better be just in immaculate condition and a common date. And that doesn't happen anymore. I haven't bought a Morgan dollar in years for that reason. So my standards may be unfair, but what I'm telling you is I recall a time where my standards were perfectly acceptable and I frequently got Morgan dollars. On my budget, I don't have a lot of them. I probably have like 20 Morgan dollars. But if you look at what I paid for them, yeah, I did all right because I could go flip them for some of them for more than double what I paid for them right now any day. Okay, so what I'm saying is those kind of times might come back. But if you are addicted to Morgan dollars and or these are common items is what I'm getting at. It's not rare. You just like the cool factor. Well, I would caution you, this is fine. There's nothing wrong with liking these. Okay, I would caution you on paying too much over melt on something like that. Okay, I wouldn't pay any more premium than I would for any other round, personally. But if I really liked them, so like if you have a preference, something you really like, it's fine to pay $1 or $2 more. But right now, the premiums on some of this stuff are just crazy. I don't know that they're sustainable. That's my worry. I don't know if I call this an addiction, though. I think it is, though. I think it is. This is a very nuanced sort of thing. So I don't want to say, hey, you're a freaking addict because you collect this. I'm not saying that. As long as you're keeping within your budget and paying reasonable prices, you're fine. But where people go wrong, and we'll talk about that. So let's give an example. Another type of silver addict is the one that feels they have to have all the silver right now. Right? Okay. So they might go out and buy, 100 ounces in 1 month. Right? Because they're afraid that the price of silver is going to go to the moon. Okay? So these are the FOMO people. The FOMO, the fear of missing out on the cheap prices right now. Okay? And they are the most fickle kind of stacker because as soon as silver goes south, they sell it all. Oh, silver has failed me. The market fundamentals said it must go up. It must be $80 by the end of the year. They listened to somebody. And they turned it into a religion. Okay? No. Yes, someday silver will be $80 an ounce. You heard it here first. But no. No, it's not going to happen next year. In all likelihood. But it could. But if you're expecting it, you're doing it wrong. Okay? If you are spending money you don't have to stack metals that you don't need because you're assuming a speculative speculation that it's going to go up to the moon, okay? Right now, within a time frame, and you have to have that time frame because you're taking out loans to get this stuff, guys. I'm talking, you're going buck wild. There's various levels. But that's not what silver is. That's not what stacking silver is. And stacking silver, right, is a long-term investment. I am not giving investment advice. But if you're so addicted, so obsessed with silver that you're spending money you don't have to buy silver you don't need, you're probably an addict. Okay? And you're probably setting yourself up for a big problem. And, you might be one of these folks I see all the time crying. Right? You see them. You guys have seen them. Crying about silver. Silver has failed me. Well, no, you failed yourself. Okay? You failed yourself. Because you spent money that you didn't have. Currency, sorry. On stuff that you couldn't afford. Okay? If you're doing it right, your stack's going to grow over time. Now, I do always say you need to have a position in case that moonshot happens. That doesn't mean do it this month. It means do it slowly, dollar cost average. Get that position you want. And then anything after that, I personally would buy the dips or just, maybe shift to stuff I like vintage rounds or Morgan dollars, something that I think will carry a premium that I think is cool, But that first, however many ounces is your position. Look at me. I'm going to give you an example. Here's another sick addiction. Right? Complete year sets of coins, right? I spent big money to get, look at this. Look what I paid for this coin. $51. Right? For this coin. $51.09. Now, as a stacker, that's a horrible return on 0.7234 ounces. However, as a numismatic piece, I did okay. Anyway, you get the point. It's all about what you want to do. I'm not sitting here calling anybody an addict. I'm simply saying that there are addicts, and they're out there, and I'm probably one of them. And Eva, all right? Eva's one of them. Look at her right now. You see what she's doing? Eva, give me back my silver. Hey, what are you doing? Give me back my silver. You're crazy. All right, guys. Thanks for watching. Have an amazing day and find all the collectibles of your dreams while you're awake. If you can't find them, right? Don't blame me. Don't blame me because I'm trying to show them to you. And I'm trying to caution you on some of the hurdles that might get in your way. Take care.